بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله النبي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره اللهم اخرجني من ظلمات الوهم واكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا ابواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا ارحم الراحمين. We continue our study of Unit 7 of Islamic Belief System, and as you remember, this is about happiness or felicity. This is our third session, and I hope to be able to finish because we have another book to cover in this term. We said that our aim is nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this nearness can be explained in 4 different ways. But these are not different opinions or different theories. These are 4 different angles or perspectives that you can have for referring to the same reality. We can talk about nearness to God as a matter of seeking purity and becoming more and more pure. We can talk about nearness to Allah as a matter of resembling Him more and more. We can talk about nearness to Allah as a matter of having more personal and intimate understanding and awareness of Him, ma'rifah, as we explained. And we can talk about nearness to Allah as loving Him in an overwhelming way. And alhamdulillah, we explained these things. The way to seek nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should involve something about our understanding, something about our performance, and something about our character. Okay? So you have to have certain type of understanding, and this is what is our worldview. This is our aqa'id. Our aqa'id are not just some information. Our aqa'id defines for us our position in this world, how we have come here, what's the purpose, and what is ahead of us, and what we are supposed to do. Everything depends on aqa'id. Even I believe many moral issues are because of we don't have proper aqa'id. If we have proper aqa'id, I don't say we become free from moral problems, but the problem will become much less. If we know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is and how He looks at us and our behavior and how we are present to Him and how whatever we do would be presented to us. If we consider all these things, or to make it brief, as the Quran says, if we are considering as Allah watching us, Alam ya'lam ba'anna Allah yara, doesn't man know that God is watching him? Then our problems will be much less. If they don't stop at this, they will be much less. So aqaid is very important. But also our actions. Our actions are very important. That is the response that we should give to what we know. if I know there is fire here and I don't try to extinguish fire, or if it is not possible to extinguish, to run away, this means that I am betraying myself and I am betraying my knowledge. I know there is fire here. So I am doing zulm to myself if I don't act upon my knowledge. Knowledge by nature calls for practice. There's a beautiful hadith. It says, Al-ilmu yahtifu bil-amal. Knowledge calls for practice. فَإِنْ أَجَابَهُ. If the action responds, if the action follows knowledge, then knowledge remains. وَإِلَّا ارْتَحَلَ عَنْهُ. Otherwise, knowledge departs. What does it mean? It means that maybe data remains, but understanding departs. There are people who have information, but no understanding. So, knowledge, if it is ignored, it departs. So, we have to be working on our understanding, on ma'rifah, on our beliefs, on aqa'id. We have to work on our practices. But we also have to work on what we are. This is still more than just ma'rifah and actions. Your traits of character. Maybe you manage to have proper aqa'id and you manage to have proper actions. You do all your wajibat. You do even mustahabbat. You don't do haram. But still you may be a selfish person. You may still be a jealous person. Greedy person. Because unfortunately, we many times do things superficially. If we really say salat properly, then you become really muwahhid, and all these problems all of a sudden disappear. Because I believe if we are true servant of Allah and we understand what does it mean to be a servant and we stand by it, all problems will disappear. I don't think, for example, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to fix moral problems one by one. He had something which uprooted all problems, and that is, he was a true servant. If you are a true servant, you cannot be selfish, you cannot be jealous, you cannot be greedy, you cannot be fearful, you cannot be despaired. All disappear. That's the root of all the virtues, and that is the solution for all the problems. So, unfortunately, we many times just do the action superficially, so we don't do them as a sign of servitude, we do them as acts of worship, which are two different things. Sometimes we do things as sign of servitude, sometimes we do things as just acts of worship, just on the surface. So, what is important is to go deeper into ourselves and improve ourselves from the level of heart. Because your heart is the main factor that defines what type of person you are. If you look at my organs and actions of hand and legs or eyes or ears, you cannot understand how good I am or how bad I am. If you ask my aqaid, still you cannot be 100% sure. But if you can somehow get into my heart, then you easily understand what type of person. So this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He doesn't look at your actions, for example, or your words. He looks at what is in your heart. Okay? And this is where akhlaq gets involved. Your traits of character. And if you want to summarize it, you can say piety, taqwa. But taqwa is a name for everything good in your heart. Taqwa is not just actions. Taqwa is purity and piety of the heart, which is automatically reflected in good actions. But just good actions are not enough. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, for example, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Fasting is legislated so that you may become pious. So you may fast, but not necessarily become pious. But fasting is for piety. If a heart is pure and pious, if a heart is in good shape and form, we say the heart is in the state of remembrance. Remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like tuning of your heart. Imagine you have a radio. You have to tune it. If you go a little bit further or before that station, you don't hear anything, or maybe you hear just some noise. You have to tune it. If our heart is tuned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it has peace and only good comes out of it. But if it goes a little bit less or more away, it's annoying itself and annoying others. It hurts itself and hurts others. It's only with remembrance of Allah that you are tuned properly. Ala bi dhikrillah tatma'innul qulub. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, Man a'rada an dhikri fa inna lahu ma'ishatan dhanka. Whoever turns away from my remembrance would have a very pressurized and difficult life, miserable life. This is in dunya. وَسَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. And on the day of judgment we will resurrect him as blind. قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَا حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا. My Lord, why did you resurrect me as blind while I was able to see? Maybe I didn't even have glasses. So why now I am unable to see? قَالَ كَذَلِكَ أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا فَنَسِيتَهَا. This is because my communications used to come to you and you forgot it. You didn't pay attention. وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى. Now you are forgotten. What does it mean you are forgotten? Allah doesn't forget anyone. It means that we don't remember you with favor. اذكروني فاذكر. If you remember me, I remember you. If you forget me, means you are forgotten. In what sense? Not in the sense that Allah would totally be unaware of us. It means that He would not have remembrance of favor. It means He leaves you to yourself. Okay? So remembrance is very, very important. And we don't have time to explain this, that remembrance is indeed a very broad and fundamental concept in the Quran. It includes Iman, it includes Amal Saleh, it includes all the good things. Dhikr is comprehensive concept. Everything that you can imagine which is positive comes under remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because as I said, remembrance is the tuning of the heart to the signals that we receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, remembrance is to have maximum encounter with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remembrance is to face with your heart and mind Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everything good comes through remembrance. In the book, there are two beautiful hadiths which I would like to reflect quickly. It's in Pillars of Wisdom. First is Hadith of Qurban Nawafil. Sometime in the past also in this place we had courses and we discussed this. This is the hadith that you find almost in every book on Islamic ethics or spirituality. It's known as Qurb Nawafil, nearness which is caused by doing recommended acts. It's a hadith of Qudsi, it's a diwan saying that Rasulullah narrated to us. It's Allah talking. وَمَا يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ عَبْدٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِي بِشَيْءٍ أَحَبَّ إِلَيَّ مِمَّا افْتَرَضْتُ عَلَيْهِ. None of my servants would get nearer to me with something which is more lovable to me than what I have made obligatory. So you can never get closer to Allah by doing something other than wajibat. Wajibat, fara'iz, are the most important thing. If we do lots of mustahabbat, but na'udhu billah, our salat, our zakat, our hajj, our homes, our zakat are not taken care of, we cannot get closer to Allah. But wajibat are not enough. Wajibat are not enough. You need also nawafil. Nawafil means extra. Nafil in Arabic means extra, means something more than necessary. Okay? وَإِنَّهُ لَيَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّافِلَةِ. My servant, after performing wajibat, constantly gets nearer to me with nawafil. Nawafil are very important, but Allah has not made them obligatory for two reasons. Can you guess why they are not made obligatory? One is because Allah didn't want to make it difficult. It's not that everyone is able, or at least even if it is able, it finds it easy to do mustahabbat. So Sharia is legislated in the way that average people in all circumstances can perform it. So Allah didn't make every mustahab also wajib. This is one reason, but there is a second reason. Can you guess what's the second reason? Yes. Pardon? Mm-hmm. Yes. You wanted to say something? The second reason is this is also a test to see who are the real lovers, Who are the people who do things just because they are wajib? Who are the people who do things even if there is no worry of punishment? Yeah? It's the sign of true love that you do something, although Allah says, I don't demand this. And then, if you do something out of love, even if it is not wajib, the energy that you get from this, the light that you get from this can be more than wajib. Just I give an example. If you have an employee, just refer to your own heart. If you have an employee, you pay him for 8 hours, and he is there for less than 8 hours, you get angry. If he's there for 8 hours, you are happy. But if he stays 9 hours, you say, we want to close. No, I have to clean. I want to stay, longer. After everyone goes, I want to make sure everything is all right for tomorrow. How do you feel? See, this is a real friend of mine. This is not just someone who is after payment. It's a real friend. This is someone that I can have a different type of relation with him. This relation is no longer a relation of reward. It's the relation of love and being a chosen one. When Pharaoh brought magicians to defeat Musa alayhi salam, they were very clever. They said, we should fix the rate before, this is over. Because if later we ask Pharaoh to pay us, he may say, I don't need you anymore. So he may forget. But it's better that before we go for the competition, we fix. قالوا إن لنا لأجرا إن كنا نحن الغالبين. Are you going to pay us if we defeat Musa, if we win? And he said, Naam. Yes. But then he said something very important. He said, وَإِنَّكُمْ لَمِنَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ. Not only I am going to give you something as your reward, you are going to be among the people who are very near to me. You are going to be chosen as my close friends. That's different category. Muqarrab is the one who has a special relation. Muqarrab is different from employee. Different from someone who works and gets the reward. Muqarrab is the one that can always see and meet the one to whom he is muqarrab. For example, if someone wants to meet Pharaoh, what would he do? He would find someone who is muqarrab to Pharaoh. He says, you are muqarrab to Pharaoh. You are always able to see him. Please take me to him, or at least mention my hajat to him, do shafa'ah for me. In some lectures I have explained few elements that we can understand from these two verses that we have in the Quran about إِنَّكُمْ لَمِنَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ. There are few things that muqarrab can do, but I don't have time, unfortunately. So, in any case, with nawafil, your relation changes and you become, instead of ajir, instead of amil who does something paid, you become muqarrab. Therefore, Allah says, إنه ليتقرب إلي بالنافلة حتى أحبه. Till I love him. Question, doesn't Allah love everyone? What does it mean till I love him? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves everyone, but there is a difference between these people and others. When it comes to other people, Allah loves them, but has reservations. He says, I love you, but I don't love this action. I don't love that action. I don't love that akhlaq. So sometimes there are hundreds of reservations. But still He is so kind that He says, I love you. But these are the people that Allah loves them, full stop. It's different. These are beloved of Allah. It's not that every human being is beloved. Yes, He loves them, but they are not beloved. It's a big difference. These are the people that Allah loves them as a whole. He's pleased with them. They are not perfect. But still Allah loves them without reservation. Do you know how? Can you explain? When is that? Everything is logical here. How someone can be imperfect and you love without reservation? Pardon? But even mother may have reservation about children. As a teacher, as a mentor, you have a student and still doesn't know many things, still is growing. When are you happy with a child or a student or trainee? When you see that he's doing his best. When you have a student who is doing his best for learning, you are happy. You don't say he's still not aware of many things. We have lots of problems. Until end of our life we have problems. But if Allah finds that we are honestly and sincerely making efforts, we are not covering our problems, we are not hiding them, we are not deceiving ourselves or others, then He's happy. This is what He wants from you. To be sincere seeker of piety. Okay. So, then He would love you. فَإِذَا أَحْبَبْتُهُ. When I love him, what happens? Normally, people who have position like, for example, kings, great people in dunya sense or in knowledge sense or religious sense, human beings. If someone is very close to them and they love them, they say, he is my eye, he is my ear, he is my hand. Yeah? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I will be his ear, I will be his eye, I will be his hand. It's unbelievable. فَإِذَا أَحْبَبْتُهُ كُنْتُ إِذًا سَمْعَهُ الَّذِي يَسْمَعُ بِهِ. If I love him, I become his ear by which he listens. In a sense, I am ashamed of saying this, but in a sense he's saying, I am at his service. And we have in another hadith, Allah says, أَنَا مُطِيعٌ لِمَنْ أَطَاعَنِي. Something like this. مُطِيعٌ لِمَنْ أَطَاعَنِي. Those who obey me, I obey them. If you serve Allah, Allah would serve you. Of course, I cannot say this, but He Himself is. كُنْتُ إِذًا سَمَعْهُ الَّذِي يَسْمَعُ. Now you have to think about this. If Allah becomes your ear, what happens to your ear? What are you going to understand if Allah is your ear? And what you are going to not understand if Allah is your ear. If someone wants to do ghaibah, if someone wants to damage someone, you don't hear. If there is anything good, anything useful, you understand. If people are trying to deceive you, you understand. People praise you, but you understand that they are trying to deceive you. You understand. Everything, you understand. وَبَصَرَهُ الَّذِي يُبْصِرُ بِهِ. I become his eye by which he is seeing me. وَلِسَانَهُ الَّذِي يَنْطِقُ بِهِ. I become his tongue by which he speaks. وَيَدَهُ الَّتِي يَبْتِشُ بِهَا. I become his hand by which he holds. إِن دَعَانِي أَجَبْتُهُ وَإِن سَأَلَنِي أَعْطَيْتُهُ. Whenever he calls me, I answer. Whenever he asks me, I grant him. So you become mustajabu da'wah. You become a person whose du'as are answered. You become a person that has full control. But you are a servant. You don't want anything for yourself. Mullah Sadra mentions this hadith Qudsi in Aswab. Al-ubudiyyatu jawharatun kunhuha ar-rububiyyah. Servitude to Allah is a substance whose essence is lordship. A servant of Allah then gains control over other things. Like if you are very close to the king, then all other soldiers or people who work for king have to listen to you. But that is when your interest is only the interest of the king. You are not selfish. If you want to misuse this, you will be dismissed. If you manage to prove to Allah that you are concerned about only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have become a godly person. You want best for everyone. You are not selfish. Then Allah will give you ability to affect life of people. First through your du'as and then through your will. Even your will can affect people. There is another hadith Qudsi here. So this one was in Al-Kafi, volume 4, page 74. There is another hadith which is part of Hadith al-Mi'raj in Irshad al-Ghulub by Daylami, volume 1, page 204. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَمَنْ عَمِلَ بِالرِّضَاءِ أُلْزِمُهُ ثَلَاثَ خِصَالٍ. If someone acts according to my pleasure, he wants to please me, I would give him 3 qualities. أُعَرِّفُهُ شُكْرًا لَا يُخَالِطُهُ الْجَهْلِ. I would make him understand gratitude without being mixed with ignorance. He would be a grateful person and not an ignorant one. وَذِكْرًا لَا يُخَالِطُهُ النِّسْيَانِ. And remembrance without forgetfulness. وَمَحَبَّةً لَا يُؤْثِرُ عَلَى مَحَبَّةِ مَحَبَّةَ الْمَخْلُوقِينَ. And love by which he would not prefer love of my creatures over my love. So he would love me the most. فَإِذَا أَحَبَّنِي أَحْبَبْتُهُ. When he loves me, I love him. وَأَفْتَحُ عَيْنَ قَلْبِهِ إِلَى جَلَالِ. I open the eye of his heart to my glory. This is a very deep sentence. I open the eye of his heart to my glory. Imagine there is a very valuable, precious, rare jewelry. You don't show it to everyone. You don't disclose it to everyone. You would hide it and only show it to people that you love them. in Islam, hijab is also because of this. Because Allah considers women as jewelries that are very valuable, so He says they should not be disclosed. Imagine the most beautiful woman, the most kind and nice woman. To whom would show herself? Not to everyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not show His glory, His beauty, His majesty to everyone, because first of all, they are not reliable, and second, they are not capable. If a person who is not prepared would have that glance, would become mad. It's too powerful. Cannot live anymore in an ordinary way. In any case, Allah opens the eye of His heart to His glory. فَلَا أُخْفِي عَلَيْهِ خَاصَّةَ خَلْقِي. I would not hide from Him the select of my creation. When you get to that level, then everything is open for you. If you can see the glory of God, then you can see definitely what is about His creation. فَأُنَاجِيهَ فِي ظُلَمِ اللَّيْلِ وَنُورِ النَّهَارِ. I would whisper. Now we have munajat, but munajat, normally what we say is we whisper to Allah. Yeah? Munajat khamsata ashar is what we whisper to Allah. But Allah says, such person, I whisper to him. I say secretly to him things that other people should not listen. أُنَاجِيهِ فِي ظُلَمِ اللَّيْلِ وَنُورِ النَّهَارِ. I have always conversation with him, but private conversation. حَتَّى يَنْقَطِعَ حَدِيثُهُ عَنِ الْمَخْلُوقِينَ. To the extent that his conversation with people stops. Either because he doesn't have interest, or it means that even when he's listening to people, he's listening to me. This is very important. People talk to him, but through people's words, he's listening to me. Even your enemy can speak to you, but through his words, Allah can send you message. This is constant communication of Allah. Okay, then it says, أُسْمِعُهُ كَلَامِي وَكَلَامَ مَلَائِكَتِي. I would make him listen, hear my speech and word of my angels. وَأُعَرِّفُهُ السِّرَّ الَّذِي سَتَرْتُهُ عَنْ خَلْقِي. And I would make him aware of the secret that I have hidden from my people. So, if we get to this level, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically would disclose everything to you, would give access to all the treasures to you. But this needs test. And this cannot be only by doing wajibat. Okay. What we have in this unit, because I want to finish, is that after talking about the personal aspect of happiness, whether it is in worldly sense, you would be happy, you would have all the blessings, and also in the spiritual sense, there is a discussion also, few pages, about society. In this aspect, that if we follow the plan of Allah for guidance, if we listen to Him, if we follow His will, if we try to please Him, if we show our servitude to Him in our social life as well, then we would have a type of society in which people have maximum comfort, but also maximum peace, security, amn. In Islam, amn is very important, security. But amn in Islam is not just not to have war, not to have, I don't know, terrors or things like this. It's more than that. Because sometimes there are dangers that put your physical life at risk. Yeah? They may kill you, they may injure you, they may torture you. These are to be avoided. But still, this is not what we are pleased with. We also want psychological peace. No rumors, no accusations, no lies, because these are psychologically also damaging your security. Or people trying to damage someone's reputation. This is great zulm. Sometimes this can be much worse than killing someone. Imagine, for example, there is an alim. Okay? If someone kills an alim, what's the crime? It's a big crime, like the one who killed Ayatollah Mutahari. It's a big crime. A man that millions of people benefited from him, you kill him. But imagine if someone doesn't kill him, but tries to destroy his reputation. Which one is worse? This is worse, because if he is killed, it adds to his honor. More people would love to read and learn from him. But if his reputation is damaged, this is worse. The Quran says, Al-fitnatu ashaddu min al-qatl. Sometimes there are things that are worse than killing. In Islamic society, people should not be worried about their money, about their home, about their car, about their job, but also about their reputation. They should be sure that everyone only wishes good for them. Al-Muslimu man salum al-Muslimun min yadihi wal-lisanihi. People should feel safe with respect to your hand and tongue. Islam brings security in its comprehensive sense to our social life and welfare, and a system of mutual support. Because it says you are brothers and sisters, and you can only feel comfortable if the entire family is comfortable. If we follow Islam, we would have an ideal life even in dunya, let alone in heaven. Unfortunately, we have not that much followed Islam, except maybe individually. Yes, alhamdulillah, we have individuals who are very committed, but as a community, as a society, to follow Islam in its personal and social aspects, in personal and social relations, unfortunately, we are still at the beginning. But this, inshallah, is going to happen first in a small scale. I believe that it has to happen in a smaller scale, and then inshallah universal scale when Imam Mahdi comes. But before Imam Mahdi comes, it has to happen. We should have an exemplar community before Imam comes. At least somewhere, somehow. If not in millions, at least in thousands. But people that have practiced everything so that Imam alayhi salam can say to people, we don't just have good words, this is the sample. And if, this is my last word, if people see an exemplar Islamic community, they all fall in love. If you talk about our great ulama, urafat, even people who are not Muslim would love them. If you talk, for example, about Allama Tabatabai, Ayatollah Bahjat, everyone loves. Yeah? But this is one person. But imagine if you have a community of 100 people, not only we have great individuals, but the relation between father and mother and children and neighbors and employer and employee is Islamic. is like multiplying Allama Tabatabai 1,000 times. How much an Arif has attraction, multiplied 1,000 times, an Islamic community has attraction. And that attraction is what Imam Mahdi needs. Words are great, but are not enough, especially when people are tired of hearing many good things. Rasulullah had beautiful words. Imam Ali had beautiful words. I don't think anyone would say Imam Mahdi is more eloquent than Imam Ali. But what they lacked, and Imam Mahdi, I think, would have, is to have a community that are prepared and are ready, committed to what he's preaching. No prophet, no imam has had this next to him. And that is the secret of success of Imam Shafi. May Allah inshallah make us part of that. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.